Welcome to my show. Welcome to my channel. We're going to be talking about Ascension. And I'm going to break down a little bit of where we are in the whole mechanics of creating New Earth. Because people don't quite understand because they're disconnected from the truth. And the truth comes within the spirit, within the energies, before ascending into New Earth, before being able to experience a new Gaia, new Mother Earth, and being reborn into her. Because a lot of people, they want to ascend, but they don't understand the process of it. They jump on the bandwagon of this new age spiritual thing and just run with whatever they learn about Ascension. So we're just going to get into the whole thing, the end of the Mayan calendar, and the the shift, the traveling backwards in time to go through past timelines, ancient history, so we can go back to the timeline we fell from. So we go back into time, pick up the pieces of the feminine, and put them all back together into the tree. And there's many fairy tales and there's many stories that have to do with the destruction and the sacrifice of everything and anything. Humanity, the feminine, the tribes, the clans, everything. There's many timelines and there's pieces of you on every timeline. So within the sacred water, within the water of remembering who we are, one must go through, purge, and pick up themselves throughout all of these timelines. On a soul level, to understand and be able to go back into, heaven on earth. Be reborn into new Gaia. And what does New Earth reflect? Is the question. Because when you're stuck in this realm with no understanding of heaven on earth, Great Spirit, Mother Earth, Father Sky, due to being born into a realm with no sacred waters, no elders, no sacred teachings of the rainbow, or anything like that. All clans, all tribes of all walks of life have been destroyed, and the teachings, the theft, have all been stolen and manipulated and turned upside down. Teachings and symbols being inverted and black magic casted on them in ways that people can't understand today. So going back in the time and cleaning up all these timelines, coming back into the present moment, we have fixed things and taken back things that are in spirit and are invisible, but can only be read by certain people, because we have purged timelines where the universal teachings were corrupted. the teachings of Hermes, the teachings of the one mind, or whatever, people want to think of. Because all tribes, all people around the world, around the universe, had one set of teachings. And this includes the circle, the square, the triangle, sun cross, medicine wheel, Star of David, Swazi, and all of this stuff, because it comes down to the vibration of what people see within the snowflakes, within the vibration and vibration of water. But it's an invisible thing of, coming back through and understanding to be able to vibrate at a higher frequency by allowing the water to come back into you. Because this is the return of the sacred waters. And it can only be activated by the dragon, the serpent, the serpent and the seven seals. It's really just opening up your chakras. It's your kundalini. It's the truth of reuniting you back into the tree of life. Because the manipulation of the spirit and everything that has come down on all the people has manipulated them within and taken them away from understanding, what dimension they're in. And, there's no teachings. People, the astrology, the planets, everything has been corrupted. And people following false calendar, and so to be reborn, to transition out of the lower realms into the higher realms, one must understand what it is that you got the whole thing with the Masons and the Illuminati, which is the fallen men trying to get back into trying to climb Jacob's ladder, trying to cross the Rainbow Bridge. So the majority of this is dark. These are the ones who secret societies, whatever you want to think of, but it's all outside of the fall. So us going through this ascension and going back into heaven on earth, turning to the frequency of Great Spirit, it is traveling through a porthole. It's understanding, what is going on today. But there's a lot of manipulation and confusion within the people spiritually, because they're looking at there's a lot of people that don't know. There's a lot of people, it's time out of time, manipulated time. So what has happened, we've fixed the hermetic teachings, we've fixed the alchemy, we've cleaned up the water, flipped the poles, magnetic poles, the rainbow prophecy, blue diamond prophecy. But there's a lot of stuff, people piggyback on stuff. They get a little bit of information, but they don't know the source and how things work in the sacred water within the being initiated back into the higher realms. Because one, just like you would think of a Mason, one must be initiated, and they must be initiated back into the higher realms through treading through and removing their own darkness, and understanding what it is to walk in a different frequency. But the foundation of God's temple, the foundation of the house, the foundation, the woodworking, everything is in spirit, because spirit comes first. Spirit manifests into material. So when you're thinking of blueprints and you're thinking of an architect and what people are talking about today with the blue diamond, rainbow prophecy, and whatever people want to think on, there's blueprints to a temple, and it's not what is across the pond that's going on in the 3D world. It has returned back to, we have returned back to a timeline that is of before the fall. And this is the Mayan timeline that is intertwined with the Nordic timeline. Because within the prophecy of the rainbow, you have the green man, you have the leprechaun, you have the emerald ray. But if you look, because that's the thing, if it's a rainbow prophecy and it's connected to the unicorn, it's connected to the rainbow serpent, the rainbow dragon, and then you have the symbolism of, I call him the leprechaun, because the leprechaun pulls the rainbow dragon, the rainbow serpent. And this is all inside of you, within your rainbow, and the connection into the mystical forest of the north. Because what took place in the north and what took place with the feminine is a frequency that none of this stuff from ancient history has ever been spiritually purged. None of the blood sacrifice of ancient history has ever been purged up until now. So ever since the fall out of the tree, we have never purged any timelines up until now. So you have to imagine what it really is within the realms of sacrifice and the ancestors being stuck in blood bondage, I will say, where over this past summer, the things that took place to reverse the black magic, to reverse the spells that have been casted onto the divine feminine over eons, due to the over masculinity that has come down and corrupted the mind of, the divine father corrupted the mind of the universe and corrupted the way of life of how it was before the invasion of the perversion to do harm to the mother and the child, mother and the daughter. Because there's symbolism within the water that goes back to the beginning of time that nobody can see. Because one must be initiated into, one's only able to travel these realms if their soul has been initiated into certain things, to be able to understand creation throughout time and space, so we can rebuild Mother Earth. And that is exactly what has been taking place, freeing the ancestors. We have freed the ancestors. We have united the lower waters and the higher waters. Okay? We have tied the knot between the Ouroboros, because in true reality, the Ouroboros, the gate to the Ouroboros, or the Lion's Gate, was left open. The tribe of Judah getting into the temple. But people have it in the perspective of over there across the pond. It's bigger than that. And no one can see as above, so below. Because it has everything to do with Orion, too. And all of the, whatever people think of. But it's symbolism. And then you got Osiris. There's a lot of stuff that people can't see spiritually. Because there's been sacrifice throughout time, throughout all of these timelines. And all of this stuff needed to be purged up to the point of transitioning back into heaven on earth. Or New Agers will call it Age of Aquarius or whatever. People have no idea where they are because they don't understand that we've been traveling backwards in time to get back to a place we fell from. 2012, we hit a brick wall. It was the end of a calendar. We went back in time because there were pieces behind us. So it's difficult to comprehend because all of it happened before you were born. But, people talk on the here and now moment of Buddha, but it really doesn't mean anything because all of this stuff, all of these timelines were corrupted. The energies were corrupted, the frequencies, the feminine, the masculine. Tantra was perverted. India was corrupted. So, people only see what they see on the surface. And so we have re-alchemized. We have taken back all of the symbols. We have re-alchemized everything, taken back numerology, destroyed and removed the black magic. And it has no power over Mother Earth. It has no power over the feminine. It has no power over anything because it's been destroyed. Everything has been destroyed, but it still needs to act out and play its part in the movie, because this is a movie in true reality, because it's all in the movies that we have all seen. So they, the fallen ones, the ones in the shadows, who have been telling you what their plan is, have to act out their plan because it's the end, and they want to take as many with them as possible. So, and that's the thing about the Bible and stuff. People read it and all of this, but they don't know what timeline they're in. They don't know where they stand interdimensionally as they go to sleep every night and wake up in a different day. But it's still the same day. So the foundation, there is one person who has been given divine orders to rebuild the Mayan calendar. But that's the part where the Mayan calendar, everyone fell out of the Mayan calendar, but that was in a distant past. So how can that reflect to today? So that's the going back into time, fixing the inner workings of the calendar, which are alchemized with numerical divine codes within the sacred waters of the invisible world. It's like seeing your clock. It's like seeing your watch. You don't see the inner workings of your watch, but your watch is telling time. It's the same thing, So you still have your clock, your watch, but you can't see the inner workings of it. So there's inner workings to the Mayan calendar, and you got your Merkaba, you have all of these symbols that have come back into play. But that's the part where today people have lost the power of their symbols. Also, you have Suncross medicine wheel in your Native American Nordic sense, and then you got in your Celtic sense. Everyone across the land had symbols, but not today. People barely pay attention to the astrology. So that's part of not understanding where they are today and not understanding frequencies. But we have taken it all back. We are, in process of putting the feminine back into the Tree of Life by downloading new divine codes, new divine blueprints for the feminine, with divine rainbow codes, so they can be removed from the spiritual bondage that has come down over the masculinity, from the masculinity. And the inner visions, the freedom, the spirit of what once was in the forest with the unicorn, with the sacred water. It's a fairy tale, but it's a frequency, and this is the part within the mind of understanding what your dreams and your nightmares really mean, because a lot of people don't know and they don't understand them. But the foundation, the house, because you have the foundation, which is Hermes. You have the framing of the house, the wood crafting, which is Jesus. But you have to be able to. You got to go within. It's an understanding. It's a deep, deep understanding of spiritual symbolism, inner sight, Akashic records, stepping into new earth. Because you can't, here's another part of how we put it. So when it comes to transitioning into new earth, you want to be reborn. You want to be born. So there are symbols. There's very specific divine codes that have to do with creation. You today, being born through the Divine Mother's porthole, don't remember your codes. The codes that you just came through were manipulated due to the black magic and born into this realm with no sacred water. You were born out of fire, out of the sacrificed timelines today that all reflect back in ancient history. So us transitioning back into the age of Aquarius, filling our cups again, we have no water, so we need to learn how to fill our cups spiritually and understand where we are going. So regaining the power and understanding what a circle is, what a square, what a triangle, basic symbols that are all within the unity of the oneness of the Merkaba light body ship, as above, so below, within and without, that reflect the mandalas in the other direction, in the west. Don't look east, because that's the old. You need to look to the west of what once was there too. Okay? So there's a lot of this expressing what everything is, what spirituality is, and so forth. true spirituality. None of this meditating in the corner and talking about the violet flame and 144, which no one knows about because they don't know the true divine codes of creation. They just piggyback on people's stuff and run with it. So coming back into the frequency is understanding the divine codes so one may process and understand the true rainbow prophecy of going through and being reborn back into Mother Earth. Because you just came through your past with no blueprints. Because the blueprints of the Divine Mother was corrupted. That porthole in the past, that porthole in the biblical times, that porthole in fallen Egypt and everything else is out there. Us moving forward back into time, back into the Mayan count, back into what once was. The connection between Maya and the connection to the Nordic. King Arthur, Merlin, the priestesses in the forest, because that is the lifting up of the feminine. It takes a lot to understand this because of how dark it has been over eons and how much darkness has been removed ever since 2012. Because it looks worse outside doesn't mean it's worse in spirit. They have been laying dormant until this time because they knew this time was coming. We knew, but we had to awaken. That's the difference. Because we were here once before. But people say it, but they can't feel it. They don't understand it. Because they don't have the memory of themselves within the water. Their own ancestors' line. Like Jesus said, I am my Father. So the calendar, everything, we're moving back. The rainbow prophecy, blue diamond prophecy, the blueprints. Because the blueprints are in your mind, in your head. They're downloaded to you. So you can reconnect to Father Sky and Mother Earth through your rainbow body. Yep. That's it.